Harvard School of Education was doing a big study, and they asked 10,000 middle school students what their parents cared more about. Gave them an either-or choice. Do your parents care more about grades or about being a kind person? And 80% of the kids in that study said, my parents think more about grades. I had a friend whose friend lost his license and wasn't able to drive any longer. And so one day my friend said that he saw his friend walking up Route 9, heading north. And he stopped to give him a ride, knowing that he didn't have a license anymore. So he said, hey, I'll give you a ride up north. Where are you heading? And he said, well, I'm actually just going a little bit ahead to Queensbury. He said, I'm not trying to go north. I'm trying to hitch a ride to go south. And then he said, even though I'm walking this way, I'm going that way. That's a pretty good metaphor for life for a lot of us, isn't it? I'm walking this way. I'm hoping it'll take me that way. But so often it doesn't work. We hear that in that study. Why aren't my kids nicer? I got a call that my kid is a bully, or my kid is so cliquey. Why is that? Why is my kid not a nicer person? But of course, if we've been walking in the direction of grades, then maybe we can't be surprised if the focus is on achievement and not on kindness. If we're always putting all of our energy into helping our kid climb the ladder of success, we may find that we have a kid who's not that kind to others. There's a pastor who wrote a book called Not a Fan: Becoming a Completely Committed Follower. And this is what he says. He says, Christ has too many fans. There's a lot of people that love Christ. He's got a lot of fans, but he said, that's actually the biggest threat to our religion, is fans. People who think Christ is great and think that being with him is like being on the winning team, but that don't really want to do what he did, don't really want to follow what he taught. The way he words it is, they like being called Christians, but they don't really want to follow Christ. And one of his quotes is, they want to be close enough to Jesus to get the benefits, but not so close that it requires anything of them. And I think that's a dynamic that we're familiar with. We know what that feels like. I want to follow him, but not too closely, because the more we know, the more we realize what it means to truly be his follower. In the gospel tonight, we're hearing very intense presentation of what it means that Christ is the King. And we're being asked, are we following him? Really? That King? Is that the King we're following? The one who suffers? One who won't return violence for violence? Are we following him? I mean, a lot of us, if we're honest, grew up with knowing that our parents do not want us to start any fights. But if some other kid dares hit us, they want us to hit back harder. Right? We know that. So that's different, isn't it, than following that King? Is there a chance that we're walking one way, hoping to go the other direction? The question that we're being challenged to ask ourselves is it obvious that I'm a member of Christ's society, that he's the real leader of my world? Or are we hoping that every good person who's pretty nice and pretty good and a good citizen is good enough to be called a disciple? That's the question that Christ the King asks us to ask ourselves. Am I really trying to be a disciple, or would I settle to just be a good citizen? One of the things that we see in the gospel that the church chose for us tonight is that the followers of Christ can bear suffering, and they're more willing to suffer than to make someone else suffer. They don't pass on suffering to someone else. They don't transfer it. They hold it and let God transform it. So the question for us is there any evidence in my life that the direction I'm going, is that something that I value? Or am I kind of shocked to think that that's something that's actually expected? I grew up, as many of you know, in the Finger Lakes, and so there's a lot of places where you can drive on Sundays where you'll see people who look really different than us. Have you ever driven down to Penn Yan or to Watkins Glen? And there they are, Amish and the Mennonites. They're in their buggies, horse-drawn buggies. You can tell if the farm you're driving by is one of theirs because there's no power lines going to it. Sometimes you'll see them in the field on a horse-drawn plow. And it's impossible not to be fascinated by them. And one of the ways that they approach this world is what they call the two-kingdom approach. That's the term they use. They say, we're living in two kingdoms simultaneously, the kingdom of this world and the kingdom of God. And they are very clear. You have to be able to be a citizen of both. They pay their taxes. They don't fight any kind of societal expectation. They don't ask the police to have different rules for them. They don't ask for exemptions from laws. And they are glad that there are jails to punish people who do wrong. They're glad that there's a system that keeps order. And they allow their taxes to be used for the common good. But they are very clear. They are not primarily focused on the kingdom of this world. And we know that's true because look at how they live. Look at how they dress. They're living in the world, but they're not of the world. That's actually something that was said about priests back in the day. Do you remember hearing that? Somebody who was a priest or a nun or a religious, they were meant to live in the world, but not be of the world. And that's such an interesting idea for all of us. Their focus is so razor sharp, you can even see it in the way they dress. If they were accused of being part of this religion, they'd be unanimously convicted by the jury. It's obvious. St. Augustine said that a real key to peace and happiness in life is having your priorities in order. He said, when you order your priorities appropriately, peace flows through you like a hose that doesn't have a kink in it. And so if you read through the writings of St. Augustine, what he basically says is you've got to follow the acronym JOY, J-O-Y. If you want joy, you have to follow joy. J, Jesus first. O, others second. Y, yourself third. If you put the needs of and the teachings and the goals of Jesus first, you know you're aligned. He's the master. He teaches us how to do it. He's the king. We are the subjects in his kingdom. If you follow him first, things will fall into order. If you have a life that involves serving others, if you believe in, I'm going to bring winter clothing to help the poor. My church is collecting clothing. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of supporting Catholic education, or I want to be volunteering for the Waite House or for Open Door Mission or for some other good cause. It's the antidote to the rules of this world, which is me first. You know about me first. All of us know that temptation, and all of us experience it when we're driving or when we're in line in the holiday season shopping. First is the rule of this world. That's not the rule of the king. Jesus and his way first, others second, ourselves third. That's the road to joy. As the Amish say, and as it says in our scriptures, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So this week we're being asked, if I were on trial, accused of being a Christian, Would the jury convict me? Would they say, oh, yeah, I mean, look at her. Look at the way she lives. Clearly, she's not following the rules of this world. She's following another king, guilty of treason for this world because he's following Christ, the king, and not focused on the rules here. It's interesting that we're being asked by the author of that book, am I a fan of Christ? More than that. If our neighbors were asked to testify, the people who live on our street, would they have evidence? Oh, yeah, I know them. They're absolutely Christians. I've thought that a million times. I see it in them all the time. They're definitely guilty of that. It's interesting that we're being given this opportunity right before Thanksgiving to consider, how much am I a part of this grateful flow that comes right from God through the cross to us? Wouldn't it be nice if when other people watch what we do, they would say, I know why she's walking that way. It's because she's going that way.